KJ overslept by a whole lot, like an hour and 40 minutes. Sorry about that. Yup. I kept hitting snooze in my dream. I was in a dream in my head hitting the snooze button. Apparently, it wasn't a dream. I was actually hitting the snooze button. I woke up to the dog sniffing my nose. So the dog was like, yo, KJ, let's go, I gotta pee. So you're lucky I'm here. If he hadn't woken up, I might still be dreaming. All right, friends. January 17th. Pharaoh invites Jacob to Egypt. Genesis 45, 16 through 28, 1876 or 1710 BC. The news soon reached Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's brothers have arrived. Pharaoh and his officials were all delighted to hear this. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, this is what you must do. Load your pack animals and hurry back to the land of Canaan. Then get your father and all of your families and return here to me. I will give you the very best land in Egypt, and you will eat from the best that land produces." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, take the wagons from the land of Egypt to carry your little ones and your wives, and bring your father here. Don't worry about your personal belongings, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours." So the sons of Jacob did as they were told. Joseph provided them with wagons as Pharaoh had commanded, and he gave them supplies for their journey. And he gave each of them new clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 5 changes of clothes and 300 pieces of silver. He also sent his father 10 male donkeys loaded with the finest products in Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other supplies he would need on his journey. So Joseph sent his brothers off, and as they left, he called after them, Don't quarrel about all this along the way." And they left Egypt and returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. "Joseph is still alive," they told him, "and he is governor of all the land of Egypt." Jacob was stunned at the news. He couldn't believe it. But when they repeated to Jacob everything Joseph had told them, and when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him, their father's spirits revived. Then Jacob exclaimed, "It must be true. My son Joseph is alive. I must go and see him before I die." Jacob's journey to Egypt, Genesis 46, 1 through 27. So Jacob set out for Egypt with all of his possessions, and when he came to Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. During the night, God spoke to him in a vision. "Jacob, Jacob," he called. "Here I am," Jacob replied. "I am God, the God of your father." The voice said, "Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for there I will make your family into a great nation. I will go with you down to Egypt and will bring you back again. You will die in Egypt, but Joseph will be with you to close your eyes." So Jacob left Beersheba, and his sons took him to Egypt. They carried him and their little ones and their wives in the wagons Pharaoh had provided for them. They also took all of their livestock and all of their personal belongings they had acquired in the land of Canaan. So Jacob and his entire family went to Egypt. Sons and grandsons, daughters and granddaughters, all of his descendants. These are the names of the descendants of Israel, the sons of Jacob who went to Egypt. Reuben was Jacob's oldest son. The sons of Reuben were Hanoch, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul. Shaul's mother was a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah were Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah, though and Onan had died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar were Tola, Pua, Jeshub, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun were Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. The sons of Leah and Jacob, who were born in Paddan Aram, in addition to their daughter Dinah. The number of Jacob's descendants, male and female, through Leah was 33. The sons of Gad were Zephon, Haggai, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Arodi, and Areli. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishvi, and Beriah. Their sister was Sarah. Beriah's sons were Heber and Malchiel. These were the sons of Zilpah, the servant given to Leah by her father Laban. The number of Jacob's descendants through Zilpah was 16. The sons of Jacob's wife, Rachel, were Joseph and Benjamin. Joseph's sons, born in the land of Egypt, were Manasseh and Ephraim. Their mother was Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, the priest of On. Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. I laugh every time. Every single time I read that Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. It sounds like a poem. These were the sons of Rachel and Jacob. The number of Jacob's descendants through Rachel were 14. The son of Dan was Husham. The sons of Naphtali were Jeziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shillem. These were the sons of Bilhah, the servant given to Rachel by her father Laban. The number of Laban's descendants through Bilhah was 7. The total number of Jacob's direct descendants who went with him to Egypt, not counting his sons' wives, was 66. In addition, Joseph had 2 sons who were born in Egypt. So altogether, there were 70 members of Joseph's family in the land of Egypt. Jacob's family arrives in Goshen, Genesis 46:28 through 34. As they neared their destination, Jacob sent Judah ahead to meet Joseph and get directions to the region of Goshen. And when they finally arrived there, Joseph prepared his chariot and traveled to Goshen to meet his father, Jacob. When Joseph arrived, he embraced his father and wept, holding him for a long time. Finally, Jacob said to Joseph, "Now I am ready to die, since I have seen your face again and know you are still alive." And Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's entire family, "I will go to Pharaoh and tell him, 'My brothers and my father's entire family have come to me from the land of Canaan. These men are shepherds, and they raise livestock. They have brought with them their flocks and herds and everything they own.'" Then he said, "When Pharaoh calls for you and asks you about your occupation, you must tell him, 'We, your servants, have raised livestock all of our lives, as our ancestors have always done.' When you tell him this, he will let you live here in the region of Goshen, for the Egyptians despise shepherds." Jacob blesses Pharaoh, Genesis 47:1 through 12. Then Joseph went to see Pharaoh and told him, "My father and my brothers have arrived from the land of Canaan. They have come with all of their flocks and herds and possessions, and they are now in the region of Goshen." Joseph took 5 of his brothers with him and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh asked the brothers, "What is your occupation?" They replied, "We, your servants, are shepherds, just like our ancestors. We have come to live here in Egypt for a while, for there is no pasture in our flocks. There is no pasture for our flocks in Canaan. The famine is very severe there, so please, we request permission to live in the region of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and brothers have joined you here, choose any place in the entire land of Egypt for them to live. Give them the best land of Egypt. Let them live in the region of Goshen, and if any of them have special skills, put them in charge of my livestock too." Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and presented him to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. "How old are you?" Pharaoh asked him. Jacob replied, "I have traveled this earth for 130 hard years, but my life has been short compared to the lives of my ancestors." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh again before leaving his court. So Joseph assigned the best land of Egypt, the region of Ramses, to his father and his brothers, and he settled them there, just as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided food for his father and his brothers in amounts appropriate to the number of their dependents, including the smallest children. Joseph's leadership in the famine. Genesis 47:13 through 27. Meanwhile, the famine became so severe that all the food was used up, and people were starving throughout the lands of Egypt and Canaan. By selling grain to the people, Joseph eventually collected all the money in Egypt and Canaan, and he put the money in Pharaoh's treasury. When the people of Egypt and Canaan ran out of money, all the Egyptians came to Joseph. "Our money is gone," they cried, "but please give us food, or we will die before your very eyes." Joseph replied, "Since your money is gone, bring me your livestock. I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So they brought their livestock to Joseph in exchange for food. In exchange for their horses, flocks of sheep, goats, herds of cattle, and donkeys, Joseph provided them with food for another year. But that year ended, and the next year came again and said, "We cannot hide the truth from you, my lord. Our money is gone, and all of our livestock and cattle are yours. We have nothing left to give but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your very eyes? Buy us and our land in exchange for food. We offer our land and ourselves as slaves for Pharaoh. Just give us grain so we may live and not die, and so the land does not become empty and desolate." So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. All the Egyptians sold him their fields because the famine was so severe, and soon all the land belonged to Pharaoh. As for the people, he made them all slaves, from one end of Egypt to the other. The only land he did not buy was the land belonging to the priests. They received an allotment of food directly from Pharaoh, so they didn't need to sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Look, today I have bought you and your land for Pharaoh. I will provide you with seed so you can plant fields. Then when you harvest it, 1/5 of your crop will belong to Pharaoh. You may keep the remaining 4/5 as seed for your fields and as food for you, your households, and your little ones." "You have saved our lives," they exclaimed. "May it please you, my lord, to let us be Pharaoh's servants." Joseph then issued a decree, still in effect in the land of Egypt, that Pharaoh should receive 1/5 of all the crops grown on his land. Only the land belonging to the priests was not given to Pharaoh. Meanwhile, the people of Israel settled in the region of Goshen in Egypt. There they acquired property, and they were fruitful, and their population grew rapidly. Okay, my friends. There's that. Huppum, muppum, and ard. It reminds me of that poem, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. That's what I think of every single time I hear Huppum, muppum, and ard. All right, let's do our unshakable devotion. Whoops, I didn't update it. See, I got the date right, but I didn't get the day right. The 17th. So let's do day 17 of unshakable. Feeling no shame. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. Genesis 2:25. The Bible tells us that in the beginning, Adam and Eve felt no shame. They were created perfectly and set in a perfect environment. But when they sinned, and sin entered the world for the first time, so did shame, and they felt shame for the first time. God placed this key point in Genesis because it's the freeing truth for us to grasp. God wanted us to know that shame was never his plan for us, that the perfect state for humankind is a shame-free life. After Adam and Eve sinned, God knew that shame would be one of our enemy's most harmful weapons. So he gave us the ultimate defense, Jesus. Anyone who believes in him will never be put to shame. Romans 10:11. He makes us clean. He teaches us truth, and he restores us to himself, just like the humankind was originally created to be. So the next time you feel the dark pull of secret shame or embarrassment, or that feeling that just not being enough, remember, you were created to live that way. You weren't created to live that way. Open your heart to Jesus, and he will bring the light to the dark places. After all, he knows everything, and he loves you fully. I'm so grateful that your unconditional acceptance of me banishes shame so I can walk in your perfect peace. Okay. All right, dear friends, let's go ahead and end in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, thank you so much for Tuesdays. Thank you for our time together. Thank you for the word that we can sit and gather together and read about our history and read about what you have in place for us. Father, may we continue this practice, as it is such a life changer to gather together with like-minded believers every morning in your word. I thank you so much for the group of people that join faithfully, and just this whole Joyful Life devotions thing. It is such a blessing to me in my walk, and I'm just so very grateful for the opportunity to do this. I pray that you will be with us today as we go about our days, whether we're going to work or at home, working at home, or whatever it is we have planned for today. I pray that you will be with us, strengthen us, and be our comforter and our just sense of, just give us a sense of being all day long today. I pray that you will go before us and help us to keep our words focused on you, our eyes focused on you, and honor you with everything we say and do. In your precious name I pray. Amen. Okay, my friends. I'm not going to be live for breakfast this morning. I don't think. It's almost, I don't think I have time. to set up because I have an 8 o'clock meeting. So I don't think I'm going to be live, unfortunately, this morning for breakfast because KJ overslept a whole bunch. So I have to, I have banana muffins left. So I'm just going to heat up a banana muffin and get to work. I hope you all have a blessed day today. Stay on plan, for goodness sake. It's Tuesday. We don't go off plan on Tuesdays. Why would we? I love you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you back tomorrow for more devotions.